Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. It's Friday, and we have our beautiful Stories of Hope series. My first guest today, she's with us today from the UK, which I love people from around the world that join us either as guests or as listeners to be able to be inspired that there is hope and that, you know, we can continue on going on and getting stronger through some of the most difficult challenges that we may find ourselves in. So my first guest is Mercedes Aspland, and she's a passionate spiritual transformation coach on a mission to empower women to discover their inner strength and transform their lives. With a profound understanding of personal growth and resilience, Mercedes leads the vibrant inner transformation and awakening community on Facebook. Her journey is a story of resilience and self-discovery. Growing up with the challenges of an alcoholic father, Mercedes learned to deal with life's ups and downs at a young age. Tragically, though, her father's suicide when she was just 25 became a catalyst for her own profound transformation. Leaving behind a corporate job, she embarked on a healing journey, battling depression and self-doubt. Through unwavering determination, she emerged as a shining example of self-acceptance and self-love. Today, Mercedes stands tall, deeply rooted in authenticity, and radiates a love for herself that once felt unattainable. Her coaching is designed to offer hope to those who have faced trauma, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, or struggle to prioritize self-care. Mercedes is here to guide you towards a life filled with purpose, confidence, and genuine transformation. Welcome to the show today, Mercedes.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, it's wonderful to have you here. So you said that after your father's suicide, you already had a very challenging upbringing because of the alcoholism. And so that was already preparing you just for the chaos that a lot of us feel when we're in dysfunctional relationships, right?
Yeah.
So take us to the time when you know, because you said after your father committed suicide, that really changed everything for you. So take us back to that time period.
Okay, well, leading up to that, one of the things I would say is I was in a corporate job, not because it was something I really wanted to do, but because it was what I thought I should be doing. And I was just kind of going through the motions of life. And when my dad committed suicide, I wasn't really seeing him very much, and my relationship wasn't very strong. But it had a huge impact on me, especially because he did it so his body was found on Father's Day, which kind of had a double impact of the meaning of him kind of sending that message of, this is to show you how angry I am because our relationship isn't there. Whether that's what he meant or not, that's how it felt. And I kind of crumbled, if I'm honest. I fell to pieces. I'd left my job. I didn't know what I was going to do with myself or where I was going to go. I went into very deep depression myself. And I struggled. It took me a long time to come out of it. And about 10 years ago, I thought I'd done quite well. I'd come out with sort of like 7 years after he died. And I thought I'd done well. I'd come out of it. And then I was doing work on myself. I was going through the Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And I got to the mirror work where I had to look at myself in the eyes and say, I love you. And I couldn't do it. And I think that kind of pushed me into, it was like the tipping point of my dad killing himself made me reevaluate everything I was doing and change where I was going. But this point was like another tipping point where I realized I still had so far to go to get to the point where I was actually through this, where I'd dealt with it. And it was then a long journey from there, going within and doing lots of meditation and spiritual work and yoga, and just work on myself and really starting to get to know who I was. And I think that was really kind of a huge learning curve.
So it took quite a while, like you said, it took a while. So when you were at at your corporate job after your dad committed suicide, you had the desire, like you felt like you needed to leave that corporate job. So that was an intuitive hit. That was like, you're in the wrong place. I need to leave here. I need to quit my job.
I think I always knew that I was in the wrong place deep inside. But being in that world and the way that I was treated after my dad committed suicide, and the lack of support that I had, and the kind of expectation, I think it came to a head because my dad killed himself in the June. And at my end of year review, my boss said to me, I shouldn't let personal matters interfere with my work. Yeah, I was a bit like, yeah, my dad did commit suicide. It wasn't like just had an argument with my boyfriend and I was coming in and not, coping. And I think for me, it was like a trigger. My brain just, something clicked inside me. And I was like, I cannot stay in a world where people around me cannot comprehend how people feel emotions, and they're not connecting with you on that level. You're just a robot there to make money. I couldn't do it anymore. It just didn't fit for me. It wasn't who I was. And I'd already started exploring meditation and yoga because I'd done some when I was younger as well. So I'd already had a connection with that. And ironically, my dad, although being an alcoholic and being quite abusive, he, when he was a teenager, went to India and studied for 3 months with the Dalai Lama.
Oh.
So I was brought up vegetarian, and I was brought up with a lot of Buddhist principles in my life. So I had that as a foundation that I kind of went back to once this happened. And in some ways, my mum always says, that I'm living the life that my dad would have lived if he hadn't had all his demons.
It's so interesting, it's sad for you. I'm sad, that you had to go through that. And even I'm sad that your dad had to go through that, right? But it's so, like, the fact that you ended up going on like you said, I can't stay in this job. I can't do it. You went back to the foundation of some of the things that you remember from before. And it's almost like, your dad leaving was the catalyst that got you to begin, right? So, in the higher realms, these type of transformations that occur for us down here are happening so that we can rise higher. So your dad leaving completed, his soul's journey here now, so that you can move deeper into your gifts and what it is you're here to heal. And so what do you think about that?
Absolutely. I will say to people that although it was really traumatic, my dad committing suicide, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it's kind of feels like an awful thing to say. You can't really say that out loud, but it was, because I can't think what life I would have now if that hadn't happened, if something hadn't pushed me out of the corporate world that I didn't want to be in, out of the box that I was in. I hated it. I was going to work every day, hating every second of every minute, but doing it because I thought, well, this is what you do. You get a job and you work and you do it till you get a certain amount of money and you can move on. And I think that my dad committing suicide freed me from that box and feeling like I had to fit into that particular way of living.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways that we can, perceive it and think about it in like, but again, it's your healing now. It's what you're doing with this. And like you said, it took you a while to get to this point. And now you are fully immersed in a completely new direction in your life, and you're helping many others. And you're living a life of self-love and honoring and respect and co-creating the type of earth you want to live in, like where people don't commit suicide, right? Where people have options, and where they don't want to necessarily take that direction. So I understand what you mean by you couldn't even look in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself. And, how are you today with your self-love practice?
Obviously, one of the things I say is yes, I am so much better now than I was, but I think that self-love is always a journey because you never it's very hard to get to the place where you just 100% love yourself and no doubts ever creep in and nothing ever kind of crops up. You just get to the position where you can see that these things are coming up and you're aware of, okay, hang on a minute, I'm judging myself in a way here, or I'm finding this uncomfortable about myself. And then you can then come back and take those bits into you and absorb them and deal with them because you're more conscious of it. So it's like a continual journey of awareness. And that's kind of where I take that.
Yeah, that's so beautiful because it's a continuous journey to learn to love the self. Now, you have a Facebook community that you support, and let's give people, that information on how they can follow you and find you, and also what your social media handles are where people can look you up and work with you.
Okay, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. If you actually search my name, Mercedes Aspland, I'm very lucky because I have an unusual name, so I am the only one that you will
Oh,
come up.
wow.
So yeah, it's nice and easy. And the Facebook group is Inner Transformation and Awakening Community. So if you search for that, that should come up.
Yeah, good. And so the last name is spelled Aspland, Mercedes
Yeah,
Aspland.
yeah,
And that's really great. I love the work that you're doing. I think, the shadow of suicide needs to be exposed more because so many people think about it. So many people have suicidal thoughts. And like you and I talked about before you came on today, the statistic is just rising higher and higher and higher. And there's so many people that are out there that are like you, that are, having to deal with, the losses. Just 2 years ago, I was supporting two girlfriends of mine, business associates, colleagues as well, who lost their sons, adult sons, to suicide. So this is just a growing epidemic, and I'm so glad that you are out there talking about this and doing and helping so many people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One thing I would say just to leave people with is that post-traumatic stress, people think about it, about 20% of people suffer from it through trauma, but the other 80% will go through post-traumatic growth. So if you are going through something traumatic, the odds are that actually something great will come out of it in the long run.
Yeah, so look at you. I feel like you're shining. You're shining and you're beautiful, and so, still in your youth, and you're creating and a beautiful life, and that's, you becoming your own inner parent, and parenting yourself the way that you deserve to be loved. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate you. And we're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. For those of you that are looking for your purpose in life, looking for a new career, looking for a new direction, you don't know which way to go, my next guest is here to help us do that, help us figure that out. There is a way to do that. This is what she does for a living. Tammy Gooler Loeb is the author of Work from the Inside Out: Break Through 9 Common Obstacles and Design a Career That Fulfills You. She's a career and executive leadership coach, a speaker and facilitator with expertise in career transitions and leadership development. During her 2+ decades in business, Tammy has worked with clients across a world array sectors and industries. Since 2018, Tammy has hosted a podcast, Work from the Inside Out, which showcases the fascinating journeys of people who develop meaningful and satisfying careers. Her expertise has appeared in Forbes, Fast Company, the Boston Globe, Harvard Business Review, Ascend, U.S. News and World Report, and Newsweek. Wow, wow, and wow. Welcome to the show today, Tammy.
Oh, Kornelia, thank you so much for having me. It's a delight to be here.
It's so great. All your life you've been helping people strengthen their purpose, their leadership, to be in careers that they really feel supported in. My first guest that she was in a corporate career, in a corporate job, and she hated it. She couldn't wait to break free and get out of it. So I think so many people nowadays are just in that place. They're looking for a career that they can go in. So tell us about what you do with people and what you are.
Sure. So I do coaching. I work with individuals who are looking to make some sort of a change in their work life. And I also work with groups as well. So sometimes I go into workplaces and work with teams or individuals in workplaces who are looking to build their leadership capacity or leadership presence. But one way or the other, the kinds of things I do with people is to help them grow and develop themselves to a place where they feel more fulfilled, more satisfied, where they're finding more meaning day to day and in the long run in their careers, in their work. And that can mean a lot of different things for people. But what happens is some people reach a point where they start to feel a little stuck, or they realize they've been on a path that met a lot of their needs, but they're not really that happy and they'd like to do something about it.
Right. And I think that's the part that people can really identify with right now, is they really want to do something about it. So when you say do something about it, I know you said people are coaching, but what if, people are listening right now, and what are some of the things that they can sit down? What's the one thing that they could do right now that would already get them, some closer to?
Right. Yeah, well, I think the first thing that someone can do, first of all, is to recognize that whatever they're doing now is not working for them, or it could be wearing them down. And so they need to think about what's missing, and then focus on what do they want instead. And sometimes what you want instead is a quality, not necessarily something as concrete. And then we have to translate that into something more concrete. So for example, a lot of people these days, especially since the pandemic, people want flexibility. And that may not translate over into every career, but people still want a sense that they can really find a better blend between other aspects of their lives and their work. And I think because when they can do that, they can enjoy their work more. Likewise, other things that are based, more in, it's not just personal preferences, it could be core values. When people are more aligned with the values of, let's say, the leadership team in the organization they're working for, or the kind of work that they're doing, they are going to feel more satisfied. They're going to find more meaning in what they're doing. And it can be a lot of different things that they may feel that way about. It doesn't even have to be that they're trying to save the world, or that they're, doing something totally, noble, as much as just that they feel a greater sense of satisfaction. They want to get up in the morning and go to work and feel like they're also able to take care of themselves and their families financially, and be able to put a little something away, or take those vacations they want, or send their kids to school. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. But I find that a lot of people are so busy trying to, address the things that they were told for so many years. You have to do this, you have to do that. That's all from the outside going in, and they haven't been listening to what their inside is telling them is really going to suit them better. And that's usually very, very values-based kinds of thoughts and feelings. And those can then be translated into more of a working style, the type of organizational culture they work within. And that's where they're going to start to find that it really feels better to them.
I feel like what you're talking about is so important, especially for the younger generation, because really the way it's going today in today's time. I'm thinking about so many people that go to college and come out of college and don't go into the fields of what they went to
Mhm.
college for, or their
Mhm.
degrees and whatnot. So I'm thinking about those people. Then I'm thinking
Mhm.
about the people that, um, what you're talking about, they want more of a quality of life.
Right.
And with so much change of everything that we're going through, with so many things changing on the
Mhm.
planet, the one thing that we know that there's all these systems and structures are changing, including the companies and organizations.
Mhm.
People are looking more within, like you said, like what kind of quality of life do I have? What kind of financial stability do I want to have?
Mhm.
And I think this is also important for the younger generation because they are the future leaders of our planet, and they need to be empowered, to be able to build those new systems and
Mhm.
live in those new systems in that way.
Mhm.
And I think it's really important, the work that you're doing and how
Mhm.
you're educating and what you're putting out there, helping leadership, developing leaders,
Mhm.
and also helping people find, more purpose and design their lives
Mhm.
in a way that suits their, where they really want to live. I
Mhm.
also feel like, with a short, I mean, we have, in one day we just, we have, what do we have, 8 9 hours that we go to a job, right, that we do. And do we consider in the future that people also want more personal development time,
Mhm. Yeah,
not just,
absolutely.
right, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes, because one feeds the other too. I think people have often thought that, you're either working or you're in your personal space. And the fact is that when you're in a job that you really enjoy, it does reflect who you are personally that much more. And so there's more what I call blend. That's why I don't call it work-life balance, because I don't think there is anything in life that really is a pure balance. It's like saying, let's go for perfection. There's no such thing. We're human beings. We're infallible. There are things that happen that aren't perfect. But if we can find the right blend that works for each of us. And I'm glad that you brought something up, Cornelia, about younger people, because I think that the way that they have to navigate
Yeah.
their careers in the world of work is really quite different than some of us, of other generations may have had to start out, because it was a very different world that we started in. It was a world where there was more job security and a sort of a straighter path, a straighter line to follow in terms of where you go, in terms of, school, career, climbing a ladder. A lot of that is not as clear anymore. And so we really do need to help our younger folks and show them, but also show them that they have the ability to be flexible and to find their way through. And I think one way to find your way through is to be true to yourself first. And I know that sounds, a little trite, but there are ways to be genuinely who you are, and using that as a guide to then stepping into situations where you feel that sense of alignment. When you feel that, you're going to be able to do a much better job. You're going to be more successful.
And that's why, working with a person like you that supports people in this way, it's almost like, reminding them, strengthening that muscle. It's strengthening that muscle so that, giving them permission, if you will, because before we, stayed at a job for 30 years and we
Yeah,
did the things that we did, and that is all different now, and really
yeah.
giving permission to explore and
Hmm.
discover and
Yeah.
be yourself and listen to your intuitive. All these things should be taught,
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
school, in high school, even before
Yeah.
coming out, or in college, to really have that personal development, so that we can have those reliant, self
Right.
resilient people
Right.
that are leading and setting up the new structures. I want to
Yeah.
tell people how they can find you on social media. Where
Sure.
where can they look up more information about you?
Oh, well, thank you. So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. And there's only one Tammy Gooler Loeb out there. I don't think there's anyone else with my name. So even if you mess up my name, you will find me there. And I'm also on Instagram, so I'm easy to find there. But I think that LinkedIn is a great way to find me. And
Well, I think
yeah.
that's so perfect. Let's definitely, you and I connect on LinkedIn for
Oh, I'd
sure.
love that. Yeah.
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 It's interesting because my first guest today too has a very unique name too, and it's
Oh,
only one. And then you're the second one. So this is the first time that ever happened here.
how
So
about that?
yeah, I really enjoyed having you on the show. I'm so
Thank you.
grateful that you're out there helping people discover, more of what they're passionate about, what their purpose is, so that they can have careers that they feel really good about. And of
Yeah.
course, all the leadership training that you do as well. So
Yeah.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Welcome back to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. I'm excited to introduce you to our next guest, Jorge V. Gonzalez. George asks us, are you struggling to find a new direction in your life after facing tragedy? Do you wonder how you can reinvent yourself and pursue your dreams despite the challenges that life has thrown your way? If so, you're not alone. Many of us face difficult situations that force us to reassess our goals and aspirations. In his #1 best-selling book, Answer the Call, Life Lessons from Family Origins Through Invention and Struggle, Jorge Gonzalez shares his personal journey of reinvention and offers practical insights on how you can do the same. After spending 2 decades perfecting his craft, George was faced with a disability that left him unable to continue working in his chosen field. But rather than succumbing to anger and grief, he drew inspiration from his family's legacy of taking calculated risks and pursued a new path forward. Through his book and coaching sessions, George shares the lessons that with the right mindset, setbacks can be transformed into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. He emphasizes the importance of resilience, hard work, and high expectations in achieving success and reinventing oneself. By sharing his own experiences and examples, George hopes to inspire and empower others to pursue their true purpose in life. Welcome to the show today, Jorge Gonzalez.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today with you.
Yes, so you answered the call.
Yes, I've been obedient several times in my life, and but I do believe that currently, right now, this is definitely the calling on my life.
So you it said in your bio that you were on a different path, and then something happened. Do you want to tell us that story?
Yeah, so basically, I moved. I was in warehouse distribution and logistics for 20 years in management roles, and I believed that I was moving up the chain of command, up the ladder, and I thought that I was supposed to be like this amazing, great boss to my people, and everybody that worked for me, they really loved the way I led them. I respected every single person that worked for me as an individual, not just as an employee, but as a person, a human being. And just out of nowhere, I have an accident, a slip and fall, and I had 3 herniated discs that disabled me for 3.5 years. I was heavily medicated. I was depressed. I had suicidal thoughts, and I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? So clearly, where I was at was not where I was supposed to be at or maintained at, and it took that accident to really, get me out of that place where I was at. That definitely was not the way I wanted it to go, right? And but then I heard this voice that said real estate when I was able to move around because I couldn't lay down, sit down, or even stand for long periods of time. So I had to get off the medication and do some natural medicines and herbs and whatnot to really remove the inflammation, remove the pain. And then when my mind was clear, also I heard this voice that told me real estate. And that's how I was able to transition into becoming a real estate agent, which I'm currently am now, from this voice and being obedient to what I was being called to do.
So then you went and got your real estate license, and you started becoming a real estate agent. And then, so that's very interesting, you know, being in you were happy at your job, you were doing well, and then an accident happened, and then you were taken out. And then when you answered the call, when the first call came, real estate, you listened to that call, and then you started doing that. And then the second call came.
The second call was a call that it was like this overwhelming feeling during the pandemic. In 2021, it's almost like it hugged me, this feeling of it's time to write the book. And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean it's time to write the book? We're the world is shut down, it's in the middle of a pandemic, this almost doesn't make any sense. But then again, this feeling came over me. I'm like, it's time to write the book. And I was like, oh my God, it is time to write the book. So I had the resources. I've always wanted to write a book for like 25 years, like, since I was 25, so almost 25 years. And so I pursued that, and we decided to write the book, and we were able to put the stories that I've always wanted to talk about in the book. And I was going to call the book American Inventor because I'm also an inventor. But God had a different plan for me, because I heard the whisper again for the second time, and there's no mistaking whose voice that was. And that voice said, answer the call. And it got my attention. Then I heard it a second time. And then I repeated it out loud because I was on the phone with my publishing company, and they asked me, George, what is that? That's the name of the book. Okay. We're scrapping American Inventor and we're going with Answer the Call. And that's what we stood with. And Answer the Call came to me, the meaning came to me a couple of weeks later, that Answer the Call was about finding your gifts, your talents, and pursuing your life's purpose. So now my calling right now is to share that message to the world and anyone that I can put it in hands on.
Yeah. And, you know, actually, it's great story. And I didn't think of it in that way, answer the call, but it's also answering your gifts, living your purpose, and everything that you just said, because it goes deeper. It's actually your tagline. It's your tagline. Now it's your brand. Answer the Call is the brand, not just the book, but the brand. And it's interesting. You said you always wanted to write a book. That was already in the field, in your field. And then when you said, when the voice came and it said, it's time to write the book. Okay, you heard it's time, but then you were like, yeah, because that was already in the field. It's time to write the book. And then, like you said, you had, you know, you have other gifts. You have other gifts because you're in your real estate, you're an inventor, you're doing other things, but also you have a really big, important message. And that is to spread the movement, to create a movement about answering the call and get that message out there.
That's exactly what it is. And I think had I called it American Inventor, that would have been self-serving.
Yeah.
And Answer the Call is more a wider, because everybody has a call in their life, whether it's something small to big. Maybe it's to, you know, feed the homeless or help the poor or start a nonprofit organization, or maybe it's what society has downplayed and told us that our hobbies are just the hobbies, when in reality there are gifts. And then and the reason I say that is because a lot of people that I know that apparently have a hobby, which is their gifts, by the way, they are fulfilled in their hearts when they're engaged in it. Therefore, it's a gift. And we just need to find out how can we share this with the world, and that becomes the life purpose.
So good. I actually see t-shirts, and the t-shirt says, I answered the call.
It's funny because I don't have a t-shirt on now, but I wear t-shirts that say Answer the Call on it. And I always get a second look at the stores. It's like, excuse me, what is that? And then I tell them about Answer the Calls, about finding your gifts, your talents, your life's purpose. And some of these people at the cashiers and people that ask me, they get emotional when I say that. Because it's like it touches their soul when I say that.
Yeah. Do you see, I mean, the fact that I said t-shirts and that it's already there, you know, so even, you know, Answer the Call, that would be a conversation starter, like the cashiers are, moved to tears when you're giving them permission to answer the call. But even t-shirts to I answered the call. People can feel proud of I answered the call. I'm listening to the call. So that whole thing can all be there's all kinds of fun things that can be done with that.
Yeah, my daughter told me the same thing, and she actually said that the abbreviation for answer the call is the brand, and and then she created like a bunch of other words that mean the same thing as far as answer the call, like things that are engaged in it, And
That's so good. How old is your daughter?
She's 25 years old. She just graduated from Long Beach University from business marketing degree.
Oh, nice.
So it's like in line, right?
Totally in line. Yeah, I saw the answer the call as the brand too, not just the book, but as a movement. It's a movement. It's a message. I certainly would love to talk with you again in the future, have you on for a longer show. But for now, you're helping people answer the call. You're doing coaching and various other things. People can talk to you as a real estate person. They can talk to you about answering their call, finding their purpose. Let's tell people how they can find you on social media.
I am most active on Instagram. You can find me under my name, George_V Gonzalez, and I'll be the bald guy with the mic in this hand on stage. And if you go to my bio, you can actually download a free copy of my book from Kindle Unlimited. I'm not going to get rich off my book, but it's very important that I share this message to as many people as I possibly can, because again, I don't take credit for this message. It's not mine. This is God's message to the world.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you listened to your voice and you didn't do American Inventor. That, was that the name of it?
That was supposed to be the name. Yes.
Yeah, I'm so glad, I'm so glad that you listened to it, because that wouldn't have had the same feel that we need. We need this feel. And so it's very exciting. We're inviting you, the audience, to answer the call. It's time now to answer that call and really go within and find out what your passion is, what your purpose is, and share those gifts with the world, because in this world of change, that is what we need. And we need to all answer that call. So George Gonzalez, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And let's certainly be in touch for future collaboration. And I look forward to it. Let the audience know again, I'm letting the audience know that go ahead and get a free copy of George's book. Where is that again?
You can find me on Instagram at George_V_Gonzalez. And if you go to my bio, you'll have an option for the book to be able to download a free copy of my book from Kindle Unlimited.
That's awesome. There you go. There's no excuse. There's no excuses. So thank you so much. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back. Jess Baker is in the house. She's here from Australia. Can you believe that? It's just so amazing. Jess has lived an adventurous life, one that's taken her all around the world and into the inner depths of her soul. She's a soul purpose facilitator who combines Western science, Eastern healing practices, and spirituality to work with the body, mind, and spirit. Jess honors the innate wisdom inside all of us and believes in the power of collaboration as we work together both individually and as a collective to help make this world a better place. She loves to support people on their journey so they can grow, step into their true power, and bring their gifts into the world for us all to benefit from. She believes that if we all did this, the world would be a more compassionate, conscious place that would allow us all to evolve into something truly magical. Welcome to the show today, Jess.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being here so early, because it's almost 7 o'clock in the morning in Australia, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's a perfect time. The sun's rising, so it's lovely to be here.
So, you've done, I love your motto and what you believe in and what you're helping people do. But we were talking about it in the green room earlier, that you suffered tremendously from chronic fatigue. And
yeah,
that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so I guess I went from I was actually a geologist, so I was working in some of the biggest gold mines. And I was an active outdoorsy person. I then took jobs doing emergency response in the mine. So I was like cutting up cars and abseiling down buildings and chasing snakes. And then I hit 30 and thought, what am I going to do with my life? And I went and traveled the world, and I ended up in Ireland, which was magical. But I think being in such a cold place was just terribly draining on my kidneys. And I ended up coming home and was so sick that I couldn't get out of bed for months. I couldn't leave the house for 6 months to a year. So I'd gone from out exploring this world and trying to figure out who I was, and I knew on the outside, but when I got sick, I had nowhere to go. I had nothing to do. I had no money coming in. So all I could do was lie in bed and really start to explore the inner world. And so through that, I really learnt about the body, the mind, and the spirit, and the connection that they all have. And I think in this world, we focus so much on the intellect that we forget our body. We look at it like a machine rather than the energy system that it is. And when it's flowing properly, it all feeds in. So, when that's flowing, then we're free to access more wisdom and be able to follow what our life purpose is.
Wow. So I think it's so interesting, that you found yourself, at home alone and sick, not able to move around. And then, you were diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And, like we were talking about, they don't know, is that an autoimmune disease? They don't really know. But again, you weren't really fully engaged because you were on a path of discovery of like what really is it. And so since that time, you've been healing and working on bringing that connection, the body, mind, and spirit connection back into wholeness, and also healing the fibromyalgia. So where are you today? Giving people hope. I want to share with people where you are today with this.
Yeah, because when I was sick in bed, all I wanted to hear was stories that actually there has been people that have recovered. And I was lucky that my dad had been through it. So he was a great guide, and I really went straight to sort of those alternative therapies to heal. And now I'm brilliant. I've just come home from 6 months traveling around the world with my partner, and I've been to India by myself for meditation retreat. So I've got my life back in ways that I could never imagine. And I'm so grateful. It's life goes through those expansions and those contractions, and we need that time to come back in and reevaluate and learn and be that seed, so that then when we can expand even further.
Do you feel that the fibromyalgia, code in your ancestral lineage sounds like, because if your dad also had it, then that to me right away tells me that, okay, there is a lineage healing that's happening, that you're healing it for the ancestral lineage as well, which is brilliant. Do you feel that having had that circumstance put you on your spiritual path in your, medicine and mastery?
100%, 100%. I think it's that old, there was whispers and I didn't listen to the whispers, and then it was a brick, and then it was the Mack truck that took me out and said, you need to stop and listen. And it's a way that our whole society functions. Everybody is on that go, 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 go. We have so much information coming in, so much pressure that we put on ourselves, that it was a real lesson in learning to surrender and accept and go with the flow. And I feel honored and grateful, because I think more and more people are going to come up against this, because for me, it was a huge spiritual awakening, and the world needs that. And also it's a shift that needs to happen, and it will happen in multiple ways as a way of us evolving and waking up and creating a new system, because the system that we have just isn't sustainable. And we're so driven, or we have so much input from fear trying to drive us and control us. And we have these layers of fear that's preventing people from doing what they were born to do, what they're here for. And there's so much potential. So it's like the world is in this contraction phase at the moment. And there's so much potential ready for people to bust out and work together in a whole new way and create a whole new system together.
This is so good. This is so good. Everything that you're talking about, 1,000%. Check, 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 check. Yep, 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 yep. That is exactly. And we were talking earlier to one of our guests. She was, she's a career coach. She helps people in careers. And we were talking about how personal development, spiritual development isn't written into our career plan when we're graduating, from college or whatever. And that is all part of that old system, and how the young people today, and even those of us that have been, in careers, we didn't realize that we really need that spirituality. We really need that personal development time, that inner working time. And it doesn't fit into the model of working 9 hours a day and then taking care of a family. Where do you have time to do that? So that whole thing. And then if there's a challenge like an illness, then that makes it even worse, because now you have that. But overall, we know it's all happening, so we can come back to our true medicine, right?
And we have these human bodies that are so limited, like the physical world's about those strong boundaries. So, it's our nature to hold on to really tight. So the more stressed we get, we hold on with all of our grips. And it's sort of recognizing that, hang on, that's actually a stress response, and I need to be able to let go and go with the flow and allow the energy to flow again and listen to the wisdom inside. But boy, it's difficult when you've got one of these human bodies to do that.
Oh, totally. And that's how we're ascending too. We're bringing our physical body with us into higher vibrational ways of living and being. And, so we have to be gentle with the body as always, because the body's always the last to catch up. Now, Jess, let's tell the audience how they can find you on social media, where you are, where they can learn more about what you do and your travels and everything else.
Yeah, so you can find me at Journey to a Better Place. I'm mostly on Facebook, a little bit of Instagram. Technology is not my thing. So I also have a website, www.journeytoabetterplace.com. And if you scroll to the bottom of that, there's actually an activity that was the first activity that I did that started my spiritual awakening. So it was before I even got sick. It put me on the path of trying to understand, well, who am I and what do I do in this world? So if you're not quite sure, if you know that you're here for something great, but there's maybe that fear, or you don't even know where to begin, I encourage you to go check that activity out. Give yourself some space and time to really allow yourself to explore that, and let me know how you go, because I love, love, love hearing about other people's journeys and where they've been and what they've learned. So please do reach out and share with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jess Baker, and journeytoabetterplace.com. Go check it out. And we're going to close the show today. It's been an amazing show. Thank you for listening and tuning in to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll see you again next time, everyone, next Friday. Bye, everyone.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.